Have you ever really thought about tattoos? I mean, you can scrub them, swim with them, get them soaking wet, and they just stay put. It's kind of like this everyday magic we just accept. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and get into the really cool science behind why tattoos are permanent.
So let's start with the big question, the central mystery of it all. If you scribble on your arm with a pen, it's pretty much gone after a shower or two. But a tattoo? That thing is in for the long haul. So what is the big difference here? Well, it all boils down to an invisible battle that's happening deep, deep inside your own skin.
And right off the bat, here's our first major clue. See, a temporary marker just kind of chills out on the very top surface of your skin. That's why it's so easy to wash off. A tattoo, on the other hand, it completely bypasses that top layer and gets its ink way, way deeper. And that very specific location, that's the key to everything.
Okay, so let's start piecing this whole permanent puzzle together. And the very first piece? It actually has to do with understanding the basic layout of our own skin. So think of your skin as having two really important layers for this story. You've got the outer one, the epidermis. This layer is always busy, shedding old cells and making new ones. So naturally, anything just sitting on top here isn't going to last long. But underneath all that action is the dermis. This layer is deep, it's super stable, and it doesn't really change. That is our target zone.
And that's precisely where a tattoo needle is designed to go. The whole process is about depositing thousands of teeny tiny ink particles directly into that stable dermis. Now, this keeps the ink safe from all the shedding that's happening on the surface. But here's the thing. Just getting the ink down there isn't actually enough to make it permanent.
You know why? Because the second that ink shows up, your body sounds the alarm. It sees an intruder, and it immediately sends in its own elite cleanup crew, your immune system. Yeah, your immune system springs into action. It has no idea that this is a beautiful piece of art you just paid for. All it sees are thousands and thousands of foreign particles that are absolutely not supposed to be there. And so it launches a full-blown response to get rid of them right away.
So who leads this defensive charge? Your white blood cells. These are the microscopic security guards of your body. Their entire job is to hunt down, gobble up, and destroy anything that doesn't belong. And, you guessed it, they swarm the site of the new tattoo and immediately start trying to eat those ink particles.
Now, this should be where the story of the tattoo ends, right? The body's defenses move in, they clean up the mess, and the ink disappears. But this is where it gets really, really cool. Because this particular intruder, it has a secret weapon. And here is the twist. It's so simple, but it changes everything. The particles of tattoo ink are just too big for the white blood cells to actually break down. The cells are successful in swallowing the ink, but once it's inside, they literally can't do anything with it. The intruder is indigestible.
So what does your body do when it can't destroy an invader? Well, it contains it. The white blood cells basically become these tiny living prisons. They swallow the ink particles, and since they can't get rid of them, the inks just get stuck inside the cell, locked away right there in the dermis.
And this whole trapped ink thing is the actual reason you can see your tattoos so clearly through your skin. You're not just looking at little bits of ink floating around. You're literally looking at the ink being held captive inside your own immune cells. How crazy is that?
Okay, so that trapping mechanism is pretty clever. But wait a second. Our cells don't live forever. So how in the world does a tattoo last for 10, 20, even 50 years? This, my friends, is the final and most brilliant piece of the entire puzzle.
It's all because of this amazing forever cycle. When an old white blood cell that's holding onto a piece of ink finally dies, it releases that ink particle right back where it was. But the moment it's free, a brand new, eager white blood cell rushes in, gobbles it right back up, and the whole process starts over. The ink is essentially passed down from one generation of cells to the next.
This analogy just sums it all up perfectly. A tattoo is basically a biological standoff. The ink is the houseguest that shows up and just refuses to leave. And the white blood cells are the guards who try to kick the guest out, but they can't. So they all just end up stuck together, forever, keeping that design perfectly in place. So, let's just quickly recap the whole wild story. Tattoos are permanent because that ink is put deep into the stable dermis. Then, your body's immune system tries to attack it, but the ink particles are too big to be destroyed. So, the ink gets trapped inside your white blood cells, and this constant cycle of trapping and retrapping is what keeps it locked in place for your entire life.
Which leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing thought to chew on. If the cells holding your tattoo are constantly dying off, only to be replaced by new cells that immediately reabsorb that same ink, well, in a way, isn't your body actively redrawing your tattoo every single day from the inside out? Pretty cool thing to think about.